everybody, it's Jerrie from Missing Persons of America. There's a photo showing a little girl standing on the lawn of a house at midnight in Maryland. You got to see this photo. It's coming up next. The Frederick County Sheriff's Department is asking for help from the public to identify this little girl that was captured on a Ring camera. Now she's standing on the front lawn because they captured her in the video, but she's actually walking up towards the front of the house, and the Ring camera captures her walking up towards the house, and she's there, and it's dark all around her, and she's walking up towards the door, as I said, and no one knows who this little girl is. Now, this happened on July 25th in a Maryland community. And the Frederick County's Sheriff Department is asking anybody if they recognize who this little girl is to let them know. They're trying to identify her, and no one's come forward at this point in time. So I'm thinking that probably they've gone door to door and asking if anybody in the neighborhood who knows who this little girl is over the last couple of weeks, and they haven't been able to identify her. So now they're reaching out to the public. So you can see the photo. It's not very clear, and you can see the darkness all around her. And if you look down at her hand, you can see it almost looks like she has a glove on one of her hands. But the police have said they believe that is a dark-haired doll that she's holding. So it even gets more mysterious. There she is at midnight, walking towards this house all by herself with a doll in her hand. What is she doing there? It doesn't seem to make any sense. And the whole ambiance of the picture almost looks like something out of a scary movie. It just doesn't seem real. It looks like maybe it was a Hollywood thing going on here, but it's an actual real photo of this little girl all by herself. Now, I wanted to look to see where the neighborhood was and the situation of the neighborhood. So I did a little research, and I want to share that with you. And it's, after you look at the photo, you see that she's got the doll there. It's almost like a ghostly figure when you're looking at it. And let me read what the Frederick County Sheriff Department posted, what they had to say. The Frederick County Sheriff's Office is seeking information to help identify a young female and her parents. This young female was captured on Ring doorbell footage in the area of the 11300 block of San Andrew Drive, Newmarket, Maryland, on July 25th between 12 and 1 a.m. The Sheriff's Office is asking anyone that may have any information related to this incident and or knowledge of the identities to call Detective Gladhill at 301-600-2821. As I mentioned before, I wanted to look at the neighborhood and see where this is at. Now, we look at the Google map, and it shows a neighborhood bordered by the woods. And it would seem that the child might have come from the neighborhood. But as I mentioned before, I'm believing that probably the police department has already gone to that neighborhood, because when you look at the map, you see that it's a neighborhood, and then around it is like farms on one side, the woods on the other side. And then there's a Pinehurst subdivision right next to it, but you have to go through the woods to get to the Pinehurst subdivision. So I want to find out what the name of this subdivision is, and I looked it up, and it is called West Winds Subdivision in Newmarket. All right, so you see the one picture there that I showed you. Now the second picture, look at it, you can see the red dot where the location where she was at, and you see that there's woods behind there. And then you have the West Wind subdivision and all the houses in that area. And then outside of that is a farmland, and like I said, over there's the Pinehurst division over on the one side. So you wonder, well, maybe she came from one of the farms over there, but it would have been quite a ways for her to walk. And they say, well, she must have come from that neighborhood, but but I'm not thinking she came from that neighborhood now, because I'm sure the police have gone through that neighborhood and asked everyone there if they recognized who this was. And if she was a neighbor, I'm sure if she was living next door or 2 doors down or so, I'm sure somebody would have recognized who she was, even though the photo was not very clear. So I also decided to go and take a photograph of the street view of the neighborhood. And you could see on this picture here, we're on that San Andrew, and on the left-hand side is the houses, and the back of those houses is the woods. And on the right-hand side of the street are more houses, and the back of that houses are more houses on the other side of the street. So I don't know which house she went up to. They haven't let the address out, but it would have been one of these houses on the street. And you can see all the yards are green grass, and when this photo was taken at least, and they're immaculate, and it looks very well kept, and maybe it has even an HOA in this neighborhood here. And just trying to understand what she was doing there and why she'd be walking up the door is, I can't figure it out. And then the next photograph you'll see, that's the West Winds subdivision. There is the sign that takes you into the area where she was at, and you go up that road and go towards the right, and it'll take you to that San Andrew. Now, social media is very, very interested in this photo, and they're all trying to figure out what was going on here. And there's a lot of people talking about it. They said, one woman said, "My goodness, this is very creepy, and a lot of missing information as to why they were looking for her. Very odd." And another person responded, "I think it's just the time of night and that she isn't a known neighbor. They were just being cautious, and as all of us would want the same for our child also, because it's a minor, they cannot say much and have no more to go on without public help." And let's see, she could have gotten away from an attacker and was seeking help. And another person says, "That's what I was wondering also." And then, why didn't she ring the bell? Yeah, why didn't she ring the bell? What was she doing out there? It's really, really different and strange. So the mystery of why this little girl is wandering this neighborhood at night is going viral on social media. Hopefully soon someone will recognize her because of this and be able to identify who she was, and maybe we might be able to find out what she was doing out there all by herself. And right now we're assuming she's there all by herself because there was nobody around her in that photograph. All right, if you have any information, please call the Frederick County Sheriff's Office at 301-600-2821. All right, that's it for today. Thank you. See you soon. Bye-bye.